Hello everyone. Today's video is quite, I'd say, personal. Not just to me, but to many people that I know in person, and maybe to some of you guys who live especially in the north of England. Now it's a lesson and a story that I was taught year after year in secondary school. To some of you that would be high school maybe. And it's one story that I've never been able to forget when the subject of bullying and the inability to accept people for who they are comes up. And this is because the case in question today was actually something that happened in the north of England. And it's a prime example of how unacceptance towards another person can just go to a completely different level. Now it is quite a sad case, there's no happy ending for this case, so yeah, just a fair warning that this is just a bit of a depressing one. So our case begins in the county of Lancashire, England. It's the 11th of August 2007 and it's around 1 o'clock in the morning. Our case is set in Stubby Lee Park in Bacup, a town within Lancashire on the border of Greater Manchester and West Yorkshire. A 21-year-old woman and her boyfriend are minding their own business. They're going home after being out for the night. This woman would be Sophie Lancaster. Now, do you notice anything strange about Sophie? I don't. How about now? Still nothing? Unfortunately, the people who murdered her did see something strange. You see, while you and me see this woman as just an ordinary individual, a normal human being, expressing herself as the best person that she can be, while being happy, living her life, and being unique, this, for some reason, became a problem to certain individuals. Now you see, while Sophie was an individual who had pride in her uniqueness and her appearance, certain individuals were bothered by her looks. On this night, Sophie was murdered by these individuals. Both her and her boyfriend, Robert Maltby, were attacked by a gang after being followed for a short while in Stubby Lee Park. Her boyfriend took the first attack, but the attention was soon turned towards Sophie. The attack was brutal and long, with Sophie receiving severe head injuries. She was kicked in the head and stomped on multiple times. After this attack, the boys would brag about what they did to other friends. The faces of the two were so swollen that the police had a very hard time working out which one was Sophie and which one was Robert. These people put Sophie in a coma in hospital for 13 days. Her family decided to follow medical advice ultimately, turning off her life support on the 24th of August 2007 at just 20 years old. But why? It's a question that has to be asked. Well, we know that Sophie was murdered based on her looks. She was very into the Gothic style and loved Gothic subculture. Her mother had seen the signs of her being bullied before because of how she dressed. 5 teenage boys were arrested for the assault. Ryan Herbert, Brendan Harris. Both were convicted of murder and sentenced to life. The other 3 boys were jailed for grievous bodily harm. Now, the attack didn't go unnoticed around the county of Lancashire, and all over the world as a matter of fact. The tributes came pouring in. Facebook and Bebo groups were dedicated to Sophie, which were both very popular at the time. At the Infest Festival in Bradford, Ronan Harris of electronic pop group VNV dedicated their song called Illusion to Sophie, and a plaque was also discussed in her name in Stubby Park. At Bacup Borough Football Club, a 12-hour concert was held in her honour, featuring 10 bands, along with the football club participating in a match in her honour. A memorial bench was also put on Whitby's West Cliff in January 2008. A website known as the Sophie Foundation is also still in existence, with the word Sophie standing for Stamp Out Prejudice, Hatred and Intolerance Everywhere. Her mother, Sylvia, who was a big part of the site, unfortunately passed away in 2022. As for Robert, he was in a coma for 1 week, which also took time for him to heal physically and mentally after he was out of that coma. In an interview in 2017, it's written that he believes that the attack was portrayed far less worse than it actually was. He still lives near Stubby Park and is an aspiring artist. Now, while this fundraiser is just one of the fundraisers raised to educate people on the horrors of unacceptance and what it can lead to, it's very safe to say that unacceptance is still a very, very big thing nowadays. Not only with looks, but with sexuality, gender and race. And while Sophie's case is one that stands out personally to me because it was taught to me in school, which in turn taught me never to judge a book by its cover, Sophie's case isn't and will never be the only case in which this has happened. And that's a case that I was taught in school as a young teenager. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.